Moving back to today's subject, I would like at the outset uh, to 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 make brief remarks. Then we will start the discussions and questions and answers in both ways. Don't you think that you will keep bombarding me with questions and I will not ask you questions? No, I will ask you questions as well. I will ask our friends from Britain, for instance, what they did for Egypt. Let's start. Ladies and gentlemen, greetings. I'd like at the outset to extend my thanks and appreciation to BEBA and the Chambers of Commerce for their efforts to organize this virtual webinar under extraordinary circumstances represented in COVID-19 that has reflected on the lives of people and the economic life all over the world. This necessitates international solidarity to overcome the impacts of this pandemic. I would like to state that Egypt was able to uh, go through the lockdown or to avoid the lockdown and did not halt the major projects that it is implementing, and we are keen to continue the economic activities in all its sectors. Dear friends, transport is one of the main elements of progress all over the world. The economic sectors depend on infrastructure and the developing of the transport networks and enabling transport and shipments, which encourages the mobility of capital, and it facilitates the movement of citizens between all countries for all purposes, be it religious, curative, or otherwise. I would like to say that Egypt's rank in the road quality indicator has went up to 28 in 2019 after it was 118 in 2014, and we this ranking will even go higher because of these major projects we're implementing. So in short, I am confident that every year we will have an even higher rank, um, and we will keep going up. Maybe we will one day overtake Great Britain, or at least be on close to Great Britain, and we are confident that this ranking will even go higher, especially because of the major projects we're implementing in Egypt, where the market is very appealing and attractive because of its population, its strategic location in the Middle East, and also the conducive legislative environment. Ladies and gentlemen, the vision of Egypt and the Ministry of Transport is not just about transporting passengers and goods, but we aim at contributing to the sustainable development of the state. And also, to implement this vision, we have adopted a flexible policy of expansion of transport to connect Egypt to its neighborhood by road and otherwise to connect it to the Arab countries neighboring it, while maintaining the highest level of safety in all our transport networks and maintaining environmentally friendly attitude, and also introducing new developments to cope with the developments in the world, and also to provide more strategic opportunities, and to adopt smart means of transportation. And also, we have been keen to modernize the system of transport to suit the plans of the state. I would like to thank all efforts aiming at strengthening Egyptian-British cooperation, and we are confident that these efforts will come to fruition and be but an extension of a long-standing relation between our two nations. And transportation will always be at the forefront of our priorities, especially when we think of the major strategic projects. And in conclusion, I would like to open the floor for any discussions or questions. Thank you, Your Excellency. There is a question from Mr. Wael Al-Alfi. You have the floor, Mr. Wael. My question is, a while ago, we started the implementation of the high-speed train. We would like to know how you view this project and what is the future of the high-speed train in Egypt. The high-speed rail or the high-speed train in Egypt is something that will be very important in the coming phase because we have been developing means of transport in two main directions or in two main ways. First, we wanted the means of transport to service or to help major projects of development, be it agricultural development, industrial development, or touristic development. And we also wanted to connect these projects to the residential areas and to the seaports as well. So the transport network is aimed at helping our projects in these different fields and to connect those projects to the residential areas. And for that purpose, we need high-speed means of transport like the high-speed train. At the same time, we have a different goal. We always make sure that we try to use eco-friendly means of transport, electrical trains or trains or means of transport that have zero contamination of the environment. We have projects in Hurghada, Safaga, Luxor, Kena, Abu Tartur. We have an electric passenger train and also some for passengers, and also we have an electric locomotive for freight trains. So we have the new project, a new project which is Port Said, Damietta, New Damietta, Gamasa, New Mansoura, Rashid. So these are all places where we have more lines in plan, uh, all all of which are eco-friendly and highly productive, or plan to be. And as to your second question, we're implementing this in a new with a new approach. Just go to the field. We went to the field and made plans, and with all due respect to all international offices of expertise, no one is going to be able to plan on the ground like us. We have another project, which is the Galala project, that gave us lots of experience that we built on. I and my colleague, Engineer Hussam Mustafa, head of the road transport, we implemented these planning. We did the planning, and we also deployed or dispatched people to work with an Egyptian consultancy in coordination with the Sistra, which is a French um, international office, which will be the main consultancy of the project. There will be also they will coordinate the implementation of the uh, what we call sand bridges, and there is going to be another Egyptian consultancy, which is ECG, to implement the stations. The stations are not that mm, that difficult to implement. So it is being implemented by the Egyptian office under with coordination with Sestra and the Egyptian companies. If you go to the field, you will see them implementing the bridges and the lines of the railway. And what will remain will be the railway itself, the lines, the sleepers, the switches, and we are also preparing the main manual for the electrical systems, control, turnstiles. We're implementing all of these, and the manual includes directions in all of these matters. And we have the consultancy that will implement, or the company that will implement these things will be responsible for two things. First, localizing the work in Egypt with the Lyric company, and they will be responsible for the safety of the project. And for that reason, they will coordinate with Sistra. So they will receive the stations, they will install the systems, and we will implement the projects fast and safely. This project has been in planning or in the pipeline for 3 or 4 years. Uh, when we thought of having an international consultancy like Sistra working on them, and other companies like EPC working with a traditional EPC plus F system, when we thought of that, we realized it would not be a success, especially financially. That's why we wanted to have a point of order, so to speak. That's why we wanted to regulate and replan everything, and we would like to welcome you, your company, and any alliances um, that would give us uh, any assistance on the most important manual, which is the moving parts manual, and maybe in o- in 30 months at maximum, we will have finished this project. If you would like to say something, I think you do not have a question. I just have another question. As to the connection between Egypt and the Sudan. As to the connection between Egypt and Sudan, we have three projects connecting Egypt and Sudan. The first of which is Cairo Cape Town project, which is 10,000 kilometers long. With 1,155 kilometers in the Egyptian territory. It will cost about 26 billion Egyptian pounds. By the end of this year, we will have implemented 100% of the part between Cairo and Minya, and Minya to Beirut in Asyut will plus Edfu and Aswan. By the end of the fiscal year, in July, we will have implemented it 100%, and the rest of the project will be implemented in 2 fiscal years, 22, 21, 22, 22, 23. We will have implemented the 1,155 kilometers in Egyptian territory. Then we will connect it to the Sudan, then South Sudan, all the way to Cape Town, South Africa. And also there is another uh, uh, land connection through Sudan and Chad. It will go through Darfur, Jaras, Kavina, and all the way to Chad, so that we can reach the heart of Africa. And there is also in this way, we will have connected Egypt to the Sudan, to Chad. We will have connected Egypt to Africa southward and westward. And we also had plans for connection with Sudan from the east of the Nile, Aswan, Abu Hamd. But when we did studies on the land and coordinated with the Sudanese brethren, we found out that the land on the east of the Nile is rugged. That and plus we want to service Abu Simbel touristic area in Egypt and Sharq al-Wainat. That's why we are coordinating with the Sudanese brothers to connect the high dam railway station to Abu Simbel, Tushka, the west of the Nile, and Wadi Halfa to the west. And we wanted to establish a bridge 1 kilometer long. The the so the bridge is going to be huge, a long one, and also the area of South Halfa is the only place that can take us from the west to the east of the Nile. And then we will connect Wadi Halfa to the Sudanese railways all the way to Khartoum. We will connect it to you connect the south of Wadi Halfa to the Sudanese railway.
شكرا يا وائل. إذا تسمح لي يا فندم، هل في حضرتك إحنا ممكن البيانات دي
Thank you so much, Wael. Can we send this information to our participants if you have a presentation with some contact information? Yes, Engineer Abdel Wahab and Mohammed Az, because they are responsible for media affairs and the systems department. They will have everything ready on a drive, asking the help of the railway, road, and sea departments, and then we will have this drive distributed in the exhibition we will hold in November 22nd, and of course we will mainstream this to our participants. Mr. Thomas Ashton, the floor is yours.
Thank you for your time, Your Excellency. I do have a question for you. My company is called Wave Industries, and we are a UK manufacturer of electric zero-emission buses and charging infrastructure. I have some understanding of the Egyptian market, but we do have an ambition to present our product, our offer to Egypt, and that would include localization, local assembly, and hopefully a technical center promoting and developing zero-emission electric drivetrains to the transport sector. So my question would be, what is your view on this ambition? And in terms of a roadmap, how would you suggest we set out that roadmap to deliver on that ambition?
طموحكم طموح مشروع
Your ambition is legitimate, and we are also very ambitious. We're even more ambitious because we want to cooperate with you here in Egypt. We are moving towards electrification or gas-powered and electricity-powered buses. We have cooperated with a number of companies in this regard, many international companies, let alone names now. You know them all. We have already contracted with some companies to supply some gas-powered buses, and now we are about to contract with the companies to supply us with electric buses. So the door and the window are open, and we stand ready to welcome anyone to help us localize the know-how here in Egypt. Or needless to say that we, of course, need to be supplied before localizing the industry here in Egypt. As for charging stations, especially for electric buses, we warmly welcome cooperation with you. Companies enlisted in the tender or bidding for speed railway connecting Al Asher to the capital, or another electric bus connecting Port Said to Abu Qir, or any electric means of transportation. We have started working with RTB, which is a French company, to operate the third line of the metro or underground. So we have now established contacts with RTB or companies working in operation and the maintenance of this kind of vehicles. So the company that will be awarded the tender or the bidding process to operate railways will be also responsible for operation and maintenance, because you asked for the roadmap. So let me tell you, the gateway here is you through your company to participate in the GB or the coalition that will be responsible for electric trains, through which you can help us with operation, management, and maintenance. So, and of course, this will depend on the stations. You're all asking for this, and many questions address this point. When I first or when I visited London for the first time in my capacity, I received similar questions. We discussed engaging investment partners and the private sector in this regard. And this is my vision. As long as I'm in the Ministry of Transport, I'll be cooperating with the international operators to manage and provide maintenance for our transportation system, instead of burdening the government with such a task. So we invite companies to come and work with us to train our staff. I think that is the best way to go forward in our future, and we have already started this, and I warmly welcome you. Please work in cooperation with the companies working in the high-speed train or another train working in Abu Qir or Ramlo. We have many projects relevant to electrification. Thank you for your interest. Mr. Nawaz Ahmed from Siemens has a question to pose. The floor is yours, Mr. Nawaz.
Thank you. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you, Your Excellency, for your presentation. I've just got a question on the transport strategy for Egypt. I work in the Siemens UK rail electrification team, and I think it's recognised here that sort of the railways play a big part, not just in the creating economic benefit, but as a key enabler for our ambition to achieve net zero emissions by 2050. So I was just a little keen and interested to find out about Egyptians' plans for mass transit and rail freight. and how that fits in with the environmental targets as part of the transport strategy.
طيب انا بشكرك على السؤال.
Thank you so much for your question.
احنا كان عندنا طبعا امبارح
Yesterday,
امس فقط رئيس قطاع
we received the Siemens regional manager for the MENA, and we discussed the possibility of Siemens conducting a technical and financial offer for العين السخنة على main high-speed train, and they promised us that they will study the matter and get back to us in December with a technical and financial offer for the said project. It gives me great pleasure and honor to cooperate with Siemens and other companies in this regard. Siemens is well known for its quality and uniqueness in this regard, but we want to see this reflected on the ground. We've been holding discussions on electrification, on Hurghada, Safaga, Luxor projects. We've been talking much, but the official offers have not been received yet. So we are waiting for technical and financial offers by Siemens or by other companies in order to cooperate with us with this high-speed electric train السخنة على main, or in any other project. They are all electrified. And the same holds true for monorail, for the underground, for high speed or low speed train. As for diesel powered means of transportation, we cannot change everything overnight. Even Europe still has diesel powered means of transportation. I visited Bombardier in Kassel in Germany, and they have both electrified means of transportation and diesel powered means of transportation. You cannot change everything overnight, but with some measures you can change the fuel used to be Euro 4 or Euro 5 in order to reduce emissions, for example. So we are working on this with the CTE and with the underground. We are working on introducing new vehicles and on reducing emissions. This is what we do on railways. Now, when it comes to road means of transportation, we are moving towards electric buses. As for sea transportation, the IMO, as you all know, and I was honored to visit it when I visited London. The organization is very keen to make sure that ships are SNG powered, and this is what we are working on. Of course, some traditional fuel powered ships are being developed in order to make sure that it's in line with the new environmental guidelines, and we welcome any cooperation in this regard. I have a question, if I may.
Yeah, can I just say thank you very much, Your Excellency, Jazakallah khaira, and hopefully my colleagues will be getting back to you in the near future.
Seaports are very important. Ports in general are very important. And I know that there are many projects relevant to this sector. Would you please elaborate more? Would you like to share any insights in this regard? We develop seaports day and night. When it comes to sea transportation, we are working in two parallel tracks at the very same time, which are equally important. We are developing sea ports, decks, and we are also building new ports. We have new ports being built in Alexandria, and we need international operators for this. So Egyptian consultants are building this, but we need also international operators in Damietta. We have a station finalized, and we will start the bidding and tendering process for operating this station in Damietta. We also have signed a memorandum of understanding with international operators in Dkheila. We have what we call 100 platform. We want to have a dry deck in Dkheila, whether BOT or building only. We stand ready to cooperate with you. Safaga port is very promising. Take my word for it, both for local and international trade. This is an exporting port for agricultural products, and it could also be a receiving point for wheat inputs from Australia and other countries from the Red Sea. It is strategically located in the Red Sea, receiving goods from Far East in Asia or the Arab Gulf, or the southern and western part of Europe. It is very promising when it comes to transits and the industry of containers. Moving to the other track, we want to develop our fleet. We stand ready to cooperate with any international company working in sea transport through purchasing ships. Of course, we will build these ships in their own arsenal. We stand ready to rent ships. We stand ready to cooperate in facilitating or running lines from Egypt to Europe and to the UK. The window of opportunity is open. You referred to land and dry ports. Okay, as for land and dry ports, we hope that many international companies and many coalitions will come to invest in the planned 9 dry ports. We have 7 dry ports being confirmed, and we still have 2 ports to be discussed. We have a land and dry port in Tanta, suggested by UGAID. So let me say that we have 9 locations for dry ports. It is strategically located adjacent to industrial and agricultural zones, in order to facilitate exporting and importing for agricultural products, or for industrial raw material, or for exporting ready-made industrial products. The first dry port to be approved after a long process of bidding and tendering with a coalition headed by an Egyptian operator is located in the 6th of October city. It's finalized, and we will sign the contract in the coming exhibition after being granted all the permits and licenses from the presidential office, from the cabinet, from the House of Representatives. Thank you so much. Question from Paul from Crossrail. I warmly welcome any kind of cooperation. The vision now is to start projects and to supervise and regulate the sector for the benefit of our Egyptian passengers. So I look forward to meeting you. I know that due to the pandemic, everything is restricted. I understand that.
So perhaps we were able to meet when we're able to travel.
And I'm waiting for you. Just contact me. We can set or schedule a meeting to meet. I missed what you said, sorry.
Sorry, I would look forward to meeting you in person when we can travel. But if we could set up something beforehand, maybe through this meeting, that would be excellent.
Yeah, I think the connection was frozen for a while. Good morning, Your Excellency. Thank you so much for the comprehensive presentation you gave. You gave us an overview of the developments in the transportation sector. We provide consultations and we conduct feasibility studies in the transport sector for the private companies willing to invest in this sector. Whenever we conduct feasibility studies, we include the tax incentives included in the investment law for infrastructure related projects. As you know, Your Excellency, these incentives will expire in November this year, so any investor will not benefit from these incentives. So my question is there an intention to work with the Ministry of Finance and international cooperation to have incentives for investors? You said that you will focus more on the private sector. Can we have private sectors engaging in passenger and goods trains projects? Thank you so much for this question, but it's still premature to answer this. This is our goal. This is the final target of our endeavors. But we are working through phases. So first of all, we are trying to transform the transport sector into a company. We are studying this with Garnier Consultation Office in Germany. And then once we have a company, even if we have this company as a separate independent body, we will still have relations with the ENR regarding the carriage, the train, the control system. So first of all, we want to have a company. This company should be able to contract with any international operator or any international company. Now, if I can find that an international operator or an international company is interested to come and sign a contract with us without waiting to have an independent company to help us run with a direct agreement with the ENR, then we can do so.
Hello? Can everybody hear me?
Yes, we have very good railways, and we can offer this to the private sector.
Hello?
we started this process, and then Siemens and other companies were interested to operate this for passengers only, but then we told them this might not be economically viable. You need to include goods with passengers. And then we received a global coalition comprising Egyptian and international companies, because they are working through EBC plus F, but they faced some financial challenges. So now it's open. If you want to start this BLT for passengers and goods, you can do so. If you want to operate it only for goods transport, and then we start a contract with the ENR or with another operators for passengers only. So all options are laid on the table. We have many opportunities, and you are here with us.
Thank you very much for what you've said so far. I'm working with the Arabian American Integrated Systems Egyptian and London company to bring advice to the Egyptian railway industry. I'm considered to be an ISIS and RailNet Europe manager for everything to do with transport. I've built intermodal terminals. I work with Hitachi, Bombardier, and many others. And so therefore, I work with the Rail Delivery Group in London, the Railway Industry Association, and the Department for Transport. We are in the process of introducing a new system where you can generate power from your rail infrastructure. I'm also helping the ENR to come up with modernization proposals for the Caledonian sleeper cars. We have been consulted about freight wagons and further sleeper cars, and we will continue to do that through AAIS. I understand that you know Mr. Khalid Mahdi, Minister, and he will be communicating for us with our ideas, which you obviously don't have to follow, but it's guidance, and hopefully that will help you in the future. Thank you.
العفو. طبعا هو ما فيش سؤال، ولكن
Thank you so much. I think you did not pose a question, right? You introduced yourself, but I'd like to say thank you to you, and we look forward to cooperating with you through the companies you work with or through the ENR. Since you are a consultant for Hitachi, why are you leaving the company for Mitsubishi? Why didn't you apply for the mobile units for the fourth line? You're a Japanese company, and you could participate with this project, because we are working on this with the JICA. And as a precondition, we should work with Japanese companies on mobile units and electromechanic companies. Where is Hitachi, since you're a consultant or you work with Hitachi?
I don't work with Hitachi as such. I advise them on how to introduce their technology into the railway sector, which is the same that I'm offering to you. We do develop our own technology. We design and construct intermodal terminals for rail freight. We work with ports, airports. We are not civil engineers, we're aircraft engineers, which may sound a little bit daft, but our technology is different and has an application which we believe can assist the National Railway of Egypt, who we are working with. And so hopefully this information will be dribbled through to the ministry so that they can see how we are.
طيب ان شاء الله باذن الله يبقى لنا تعاون ان شاء الله في الفتره القادمه ان شاء الله، بالاضافه الى
We hope we can cooperate together in the coming future and building on what you've provided to us up till now. Before concluding, would you like to send a final message to our audience? Is there any comments or questions? Can you hear us? Can you hear us?
Not unmuted. I can hear you. I'm not sure.
أنا الدكتور عفت السد.
My name is Dr. Afat Sadat. I'd like to thank you very much because the sea transport has witnessed great improvements. I'd like to suggest holding a workshop on developing the fleet. In our chamber, we started a discussion and we hope that we can have your support in holding workshops to discuss this. You referred to different ports, to different locations like Alexandria, Damietta, and Safaga, and it all boils down to marketing. And we are operators. We represent Korean, Singaporean companies like Costco, K-Lines, Copco. So we can introduce new ideas in this regard.
And I agree with you. And in November, we're a bit stressed, but in the first week of December, approximately, we will organize the proposed workshop with the participation of all chambers of shipping in Egypt. And if international participants would like to join, we welcome them as well. And the companies that you're working with, Ms. Huda Atiyah, she's going to coordinate that with Major General and we'll meet in December, God willing. And I believe I'm working on my own in the sea transport sector. I'm building stations, and I have seen insufficient participation. So we need your involvement. Thank you so much. I would like to thank you all for your time and for your interest in Egypt and the transport sector in Egypt. I am very happy to see this interest, and I wish to see more of the same. And you will find me very supportive of you and cooperative in solving your problems and clearing any hurdles or in your way. And I admit that there are some procedures that could be made a bit faster. So I hope that we can help each other and to kickstart this action for the interest or for the benefit of our country at the end of the day. So we appreciate all that you said, and we can do lots of great things together. Thank you so much, and see you many more times, be it on the ground or in real life in Egypt or Britain or through the means of communication. Thank you, Your Excellency, the Minister.